Good morning. If people will come in and get seated, we'll get started. Welcome everyone to Austin. I'm John Curran, President and CEO of ARIN. Very happy to have everyone here this morning. Some of you are enjoying your additional days in Austin. Some of you are here for the first time. Some of you are in the rapture of a Nats victory last night. For those of you who follow baseball, the Nationals pulled off the World Series. Being outside in Chantilly, Virginia, ARIN has a few Nationals fans on the staff.
The Expos, right?
Yeah, right, nice.
The Expos.
Yes, the old Expos, yeah, nice. No, Nationals. So let's see, I want to make a couple of brief announcements, talk about what we're going to do today, and then we'll dive right in. So first, we have a number of folks in attendance today. We have our Board of Trustees, and I'm not quite sure, let's see. So Paul Anderson is not here, but the rest of the board, I believe, is pretty much here. So we have Dan Alexander. Dan, where are you? If you're a Board of Trustee, over there. Paul Anderson, who cannot be here today. Nancy Carter, who is on her way in. Myself, John Curran. Rahani Frazier. Rahani, you're somewhere here hiding. Patrick, we just saw over there. Peter Harrison. Where's Peter? Hi, Peter. Stepped out. And Bill Sandiford is our vice chair. Bill will actually be acting as the chair of the meeting. So when we get to questions and polls of support, Bill will be handling that. We have our advisory council. AC members, raise your hand. This is the elected body that actually does all the work. So they're the ones that work on the policy proposals. They're the ones, there's usually a couple of AC members who guide and shape the discussion of any given policy proposal. And we have the vice chairs up here, the chair and the vice chair, Tina Morris, the chair, and Leif Sawyer, our vice chair, up at the head table. We have our NRO number council. Our number council folks, raise your hand. Yes, and yes, and okay. Kevin Bloomberg, Louis Lee, and I don't know if Jason can be here, probably not, are the NRO number council. And the number council is responsible, 3 from each of the 5 regions, 15 people total, when we do a global policy, a policy for the allocation of number blocks from the IANA to the RIRs. It's the number council that coordinates and helps drive that process. We have a number of folks from the RIRs here. Raise your hand if you're from another RIR. The other RIRs come here. Afrnic, APNIC, LACNIC, and RIPE have folks here. And that's because even though we have policy in the ARIN region, it's one registry. We have to have one globally unique registry. What we do in the ARIN region affects other regions and vice versa. So happy to have our RIPE colleagues here. Now, management team. The management team of ARIN is here. I'm not going to go through it at length, but we're here. We come to the meetings. We listen to you. We help shape how we run the organization. We also have our fellows here. ARIN has a fellowship program to help get people involved in the process. So from Canada, we have Bram Abramson. Bram, you here? Raise your hand. And mentor is Chris. Each fellow has a mentor associated with them that helps introduce them to the ARIN policy process. From the Caribbean, Marsha Brandon and Betty Foster. Actually, I just saw. Good to have you here, Marsha and Betty. From the Caribbean part of the ARIN region. Also, Daniel and Lendon. Daniel, London, yes, also from the Caribbean. In the U.S., Scott Johnson, John Olson, and Joseph White, fellows from the U.S. section, from Solar One, Web Highway, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. And this helps bring new people into the policy process. Even though what we do is not very contentious, it's good to have insights from as many people as possible involved. A lot of people don't worry about this. They leave it to you to do the address policy, but we always want to have a fresh stream of voices coming into the policy process. So I'd like to welcome our newcomers. Number of newcomers. What's our number of newcomers from yesterday? Can someone on the staff give it to us?
Let's go with 62.
62, wonderful. They got to meet the staff and learn about ARIN. we're going to give out a gift card for the people who did the surveys. We have a survey for how we improve the introduction. So we have a bunch of surveys. We're going to choose one at random and give that survey participant a gift card. I need someone to come up. Someone at random. Owen DeLong, come on up here. Yes, I have a random number generator for this purpose, which is somewhat broken. Seed equals 1.
That's the problem.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay. The newcomer who filled out their survey, John Olson. John, you'll receive a gift card. We'll give it to you afterwards. Thank you for filling these out. We make sure that we get feedback from the newcomer's introduction because that way we can always improve it. It's a good way of making sure we're doing a useful introduction to how we get things done. Okay, so moving right ahead, we have remote participants. So it looks like a relatively small room, but you have to also remember at any given time, ARIN has remote participants participating in this process. So the process is webcast. They can actually hear the whole thing as it's going on. There's a live transcript going on. Now, because there's a live transcript, when you're speaking, speak clearly, enunciate your words, speak slower than I do. I'm from Boston, and so for that regard, I'm usually talking too fast for them. But please try to speak clearly so the transcript can be accurate. We have all the meeting materials online. They're all available. You can download them. The same materials we give in the meeting, the remote participants have. And there's a chat room, which we use for questions from the mic and also for show of support. Emergency resources. Hope not to have an emergency. If there is, 0 on the nearest phone. There's a care center right around the corner, pharmacy right around the corner. Okay, wireless SSID. Yeah, you should be able to find it. It's Nanog ARIN. We do this coordinated when we do our coordinated meeting. Login information, Nanog, pretty hard. And there's also a non-secure legacy network if you want to use that. Attendance, 10 attendees from Canada, 101 from the United States, 44 remote participants, 30 from outside the region, 5 from the Caribbean. We'd like to thank our sponsors. Round of applause for our sponsors. So the network sponsor provides the connectivity that makes everything work. The webcast sponsor, Google, the network sponsor is AT&T. The webcast sponsor, Google, helps us make sure that we can put the video online, do the real-time webcast. And then finally, our platinum sponsor, the meeting sponsor, is Adrex. They help underwrite the cost of the meeting. So I'd like the big round of applause for our sponsors one more time. Okay, help desk. Our registration services department runs a help desk in the foyer. If you have a process you put in or you have a question about getting resources, they're out there. We also have an election help desk. Every year in September, or in October, we kick off an election for new AC members, new board members, NRONC. If you have questions about how to cast your ballot, who's the contact for your organization, the help desk is out there. We have a user testing desk. If you tend to use ARIN Online a bit, and you want to understand where we're going with it and possible upcoming interface changes, you can test drive it. So go on out there. We have a user interface testing desk. Put on your high-speed goggles and get ready to strap in and see what's coming up with ARIN Online. We take feedback from that process, use it to shape the upcoming releases. Okay, turn in your ticket and during today's break, and you'll get your ARIN T-shirt for ARIN 44. Download the meeting app. We actually have the agenda, the speakers, the material are all online. There's a meeting app for ARIN, and you can download it from the App Store or Google Play. So, rules and reminders. While this is a meeting, it's also part of a process. It's governed by our policy development process. The chair, or in this case the vice chair, will be moderating the discussions when we talk about policy. So when you come up to the microphones, he'll be the one recognizing you. Make sure you identify yourself at the microphone so that everyone knows your affiliation. It's important. People deserve to know if you're speaking, who you're speaking behalf on. And then there's courtesies in the program, a set of rules and reminders about how to have a polite, engaged discussion. We welcome input from absolutely everyone. We expect it to be courteous input. We expect people to focus on the subject matter and talk about the pros and cons and not make issues personal. We're all here to get a job done, so let's all be courteous to one another in advancing the policy. There are standards of behavior that are in your discussion guide and online. They apply to this meeting, they apply to our online mailing lists. If you don't feel that people are being courteous, if you feel that you're in an environment where you don't feel safe, please get a hold of myself, get a hold of a member of the ARIN board, our ARIN council. All are available to you to avail yourself if you think there's a concern about the conduct of the meeting, your safety, or you feel that you're being treated in a way that's not representative of your rights. So with that, I'm going to talk about the agenda this morning. So we have an Internet number resource status report talking about the pool of IP addresses and where they are. The policy implementation experience report. We pull a policy or two each meeting and give feedback as to how it got implemented at ARIN, any issues or concerns that the community might want to think about. It's your policy. We just implement it, but we want to give you feedback now and then. We have the IETF report. ARIN has an IETF reporter, someone we actually coordinate with and make sure that they have the travel support they need so they can go to IETF and give a high-level summary to this community. This is often a whirlwind of information, and we have that report this morning. It can be very informative. That'll be good. We're going to handle a number of policies. So we're going to report on the IPv4 waitlist policy. This is a policy that the board suspended, the AC made a recommendation on, and we resumed the policy under the update from the AC. So we'll be talking about that. We have a number of recommended draft policies coming up. We have one on clarifying reassignment requirements in section 42371. And we have a section, a recommended policy on clarifying IPv4 request requirements. Both of these are recommended drafts. Because they're recommended drafts, it is possible that the advisory council will, after this meeting, recommend them for adoption, and that the board will actually take that recommendation, ratify it, and those policies will be incorporated in the policy manual. When you see RDP or recommended draft policy, pay particular attention. It may be the last time you see this policy at a meeting before it actually is in effect. So very important to think about. Then we're going to handle, after our break, we're going to talk a little bit about IPv6 advocacy, talk about what ARIN's been doing just to make sure we all know what we've been doing to help promote V6, talk a little bit about what we might do going forward. And then we're going to do a discussion of another policy, which is the IPv6 deployment block. So it's going to be a very busy time. We have a software development update as well to put in there. Tonight we have a social. This is a little different. So tonight we have a social. It's walking distance. It's at Maggie's Maze. And it's a very cool place. Guitars, live music, food. It should be wonderful. Tonight's Halloween. So if you happen to think about it, you have some time today, or you happen to slip something in your packed bag, costumes are encouraged. Bring your costume. We will give prizes for the creative costumes and most interesting. Wear your name badge or your social name badge so you can get in. So this is a function just for the ARIN meeting. So with that, I'm going to, well, we've already introduced the head table, but I'm going to try again. Bill Sandiford, Bill Sandiford, our vice chair, Tina, chair of the AC, Leif, vice chair of the AC. Might be the second time I've ever gotten it right. Okay, so let's start. First person I'm going to have up will be John Sweeting. He's going to give the internet number status report, and then the policy implementation and experience report.